NFL Week 13 is here, and so my favorite 2 player props, 2 over-unders, and 2 spreads coming your guys' way. Yo, what's going on, everyone? This is Austin from Calling Our Shot, and let's get into it. Subscribe to the channel if you guys are new. Only takes a couple seconds, and we're trying to get to 20,000 subscribers by the end of the year. We can't do it without your guys' support. It only takes a second to click that subscribe button, and if you are a long-time viewer, click that like button too. Let's talk about last week. It was a rough one. We're going to push it past. We did terrible on spreads and over-unders. Hopefully, we can get after it this weekend. We're going to start with our favorite 2 player props. The last note, we are partnered with Dimers, and they've been giving us some exclusive Sportsbook sign-up bonuses, so consider clicking the first link in the description. Be able to see, maybe if you haven't had some of those books, maybe you could get some free sign-up bonuses like an $1,000 risk-free bet, or even you can get a free jersey just by wagering $100 on the NFL or even the NBA. Let's start with my favorite player prop of the day, Joe Mixon, anytime touchdown scorer. Now, you'll notice we don't have odds for this one, and that's because a lot of books, especially on Thursdays, don't really post touchdown props, but I think this one is so good that I want to get ahead of the curve here. Now, and I'll put the official odds in the pinned comment section down below. Now, you look at Joe Mixon. He really started the season. He's the true workhorse back for the Cincinnati Bengals. And let's take a step back. I know a lot of people will be on his rushing yards over, even his receiving yards over, even a combo of both of them, as the matchup is so good against the LA Chargers. Now, the Chargers, they've been giving up over 10 more rushing yards than any other team in the NFL. And Mixon is a straight workhorse back for the Cincinnati Bengals offense, averaging 19 carries per game. Let's talk about Mixon a little further in terms of the touchdown departments, because that's all I want for Joe Mixon today. Hopefully the odds are a little bit less than minus 150, because I'll be able to take that juice. And here's why. Mixon, 13 touchdowns on the year, 11 on the ground, 2 through the air. And like I said, he's the true workhorse back for the Bengals, averaging 19 carries per game. Now, after the first 3 weeks of the season, Mixon only had one touchdown on his record. Since then, he's had 12 touchdowns over the past 8 games, and he scored a touchdown in 8 straight games. So hopefully we can get this odds at like minus 140, minus 150, anything less than that. Sign me up. Now you talk about Mixon, he's been dominant. What about the Chargers? Well, they're 1 game behind Joe Mixon, as they've allowed a touchdown to a running back in 7 straight games. Last week it was Javonte Williams. Week before that, Najee Harris, then Dalvin Cook, then Jordan Howard and Kenneth Gainwell on the same team, then Damian Harris, then Le'Veon Bell, Latavius Murray, Devontae Freeman, all 3 on the same team, then Kareem Hunt, 2 touchdowns himself. Nick Chubb had 1. They've allowed 12 rushing touchdowns in their last 7 games. Seems like a recipe for success. I'll be riding with Joe Mixon. Get him into all your fantasy lineups if you already don't have him. Maybe even your DFS lineup as well. Let's move on with him. We'll take a Joe Mixon anytime touchdown. I'll put the pinned comment with the odds. Now, next one. Tampa Bay Buccaneers moving to an over-under, taking their team total over 30.5 points, minus 125 on DraftKings. Now, the Buccaneers, they finally stopped their trend of being bad on the road last week. They dropped 38 points on the Indianapolis Colts, winning a big game against that Colts team that I had the Colts spread plus 3.5. Probably should have covered, but of course Leonard Fournette charges into the end zone with like 18 seconds remaining. Now, as I watched this team, and they really kind of seemed to go, learn what they needed to do on the road last season, and it really came down to that offense, because they now finally have Leonard Fournette and the offensive line's healthy, and they have a formidable rushing attack. Heck, even a dominant one. And the biggest piece, Rob Gronkowski is back. Not only for receiving, he's probably the best run blocking tight end in the NFL, and that makes a big difference, because this season with Gronkowski out, they've averaged just 29.8 points per game. So just 29.8 points per game, but they still have gone under this line in 3 of 5 games without Gronk. Now, with Gronk active, they've averaged a little bit more, 33 points per game. Still gone over this line in only 3 of 6 games, but the 3 losses, one of them ended on the hook. They ended with 30 points. The other 2 were against the Rams and the Saints. 2 pretty decent defenses. Now, in Brady's 3 starts, now they're taking on the Falcons, and in Brady's 3 starts against the Falcons as a Tampa Bay Buccaneer, they've scored 31, 44, and 48 points. The 48 points coming earlier this season. That number has continued to increase, so maybe we see a 50-burger this weekend, but regardless, I like the Bucs led by Tom Brady to go over this line. 30 and 31 points is fine too. Last note, the Bucs as a whole, they've gone over this line in 5 of their last 6 games versus the Falcons, so I'll ride with it. And that naturally segues into our next pick, Chris Godwin, anytime touchdown, currently plus 117 on Pinnacle. Now, I hate giving out plays without odds, but I want to get ahead of the curve in these ones, because I think this line will continue to drop as the days go on. Once it comes out, likely will be out probably Friday or Saturday. Now, you look at Chris Godwin, like I said, plus 117 on Pinnacle, but hopefully we can get it at minus 110 to plus 110. We'll love those odds for Chris Godwin. Now, Chris Godwin scored a touchdown in 3 of his last 5 games, obviously a Tampa Bay Buccaneers wide receiver, and the Falcons, for a large part, will probably put an importance on stopping Mike Evans and Rob Gronkowski, especially in the red zone. Could we see Chris Godwin sneak into the end zone like he normally does on his bubble screens and just his short routes? He just sits in the same zone, the zone beater, boom, touchdown. Now, Chris Godwin, the biggest reason we're here, he scored a touchdown in 6 straight games. He has 6 straight games versus the Atlanta Falcons. He either one has their number, or two, the Falcons pregame are putting their house on Chris Godwin anytime touchdown score. Either way, I'm fine with it. I'll lock it in. Chris Godwin, I think he gets into the end zone this weekend, and we'll be taking his prop. Again, I'll put the exact odds pinned down below. Now, let's move on into 2 spreads and our final over-under. We'll start with the over-under. Pittsburgh Steelers versus Baltimore Ravens, taking the under 44.5 points, -115 on BetMGM. Now, here we got a good old-fashioned divisional game in Heinz Field. And both these two offenses, to be nice, haven't looked great the past couple weeks. Now, last week, Big Ben Roethlisberger, he looked, well, kind of like he has all season, pretty bad. He did not look good. He was terrible. The Bengals absolutely just destroyed the Steelers, and it wasn't a game after the first quarter. Now, Lamar Jackson, he can't say much about Big Ben as he threw 4 interceptions on Sunday Night Football, and that's why now Sunday is a new day, but I'm still going to lead the under here. Now, obviously, this is a divisional matchup. These two teams matched up last season, and around the same time, December 2nd, and they registered a combined 33 points. Now, these two teams know each other very well, know each other's tendencies, and in the last 3 games that Big Ben has started against the Ravens, they've gone under this line in 2 of 3. Now, the overall total has gone under in 7 of the last 8 Baltimore Ravens road games. They'll be on again on the road today in Heinz Field. Not great numbers to be able to hit this over on Sunday in a divisional game. Now, you never know with the weather in Heinz Field. I'll take the injuries. I'll take the under despite the injuries on both sides of the ball for each of these teams. Under 44.5 points. Still a lot of points that needs to be scored. And like the total has gone under in 8 of Pittsburgh's last 11 games in December. Now, you never know. It might be it's not going to be too cold on Sunday. I think 50 degrees to be exact. They might get some rain. Although rain is expected in the forecast on Monday. You really never know with Heinz Field. Give me the under. Now, let's move on to 2 spreads. Start with the Jags. It's a yucky one. Jaguars +13, -108 versus the Rams. The Jags are on the road, taking on the Rams. And, it's not a recipe for success, but this is a total gut call. Now, the Rams, I don't know how you can trust them and lay over almost 2 touchdowns, despite them being at home. Now, the Rams are losers of 3 straight games to the Packers, 49ers, and Titans, and they really haven't looked good doing so. Now, they flirted around a couple weeks prior to that, losing to the Detroit Lions. And the Jags, while ugly on paper, they still played pretty decently the past couple weeks. Now, they beat the Buffalo Bills outright. They were, 13 to 17 point underdogs in that one? Yeah, outright win. And they hung around with the Colts on the road, only losing by 6 points. Then they lost by 20 to the 49ers. They had 2 crucial fumbles in that game, setting up the 49ers offense for easy points. And then last week, they lost by 7 points to the Falcons. And now, Trevor Lawrence hasn't necessarily been the greatest. None of the rookie QBs besides Mac Jones, which, spoiler, we'll talk about him in a second, have really looked all that great this season, but he's still going to continue to get better. And the Rams, you really can't trust them all too much. Now, the Rams offense has not looked great without Robert Woods. And last note, and Cooper Kupp likely will get into the end zone today, probably add his player prop on Saturday night. But still, last note, the Rams 0-5 against the spread their last 5 games, and the public's going to be on them heavy. Over 85 to 90% of the public will be on them. And if there's anything I know, I always fade the public, and you're normally going to be right more often than not. So we'll take the Jags. I think they keep this game close. They have absolutely nothing to lose. The Rams are fighting for their lives out there. They can't afford to keep losing games like this, fall lower and lower in the standings. And I think you got a Jags team that's got nothing to lose. Urban Meyer, Trevor Lawrence trying out there and potentially keep this game close. They could even backdoor this. 13 points is a lot of points to beat an NFL team by. Give me the Jags plus the points. Now, moving on to my final one. It's not a sexy pick. I got to say that. It's not a sexy one. Let's move on to the final one. Bills -2.5 versus the Patriots. Now, we'll have a full separate video on Monday Night Football, which is this game. And so we'll have a full one. You'll see this pick probably resurface plus a player prop and a same game parlay on late Sunday night. Now, the Patriots plus the points, that's the easy pick. You go on to this, you see Patriots, they've been dominant. They're a wagon. They've won 6 straight games, 5 of those games by 18 plus points. They've been absolutely dominant. Now you got a Bills team. It's been very up and down. Like I said, they lost to the Jacksonville Jaguars, this Buffalo Bills team. How can you even support them? Now, and they just lost their best cover corner, Tre'Davious White. Absolute recipe for the Bills to cover this game. Now, the Bills are at home, which is very beneficial for them. The last time they were home, they put their fans through a beating. Now, they put themselves through a beating as Jonathan Taylor keeps scoring touchdowns left and right, getting absolutely blown out by the Indianapolis Colts. Now, this is a must-win game for the Buffalo Bills. This is a team, you got the Patriots that are way ahead of schedule with Mac Jones. It's a must-win. You're supposed to be leading this division. They could potentially lose this division to the New England Patriots if they lose this game. So I'm going to ride with Josh Allen. He's won 2 straight games versus the New England Patriots. I think they get it done at home this week. Just don't think they can lose this game. Plus, you really look at the Mac Jones. He has yet to have that a rookie QB kind of game where it's just absolutely terrible. Could we get it this weekend? I sure hope so. I'll ride with the Buffalo Bills. Still a very good defense as a whole. I think they'll have some tricks up their sleeve for Mac Jones, who's been honestly looking absolutely dominant so far this season. So we're going to ride with Josh Allen, the Buffalo Bills, -2.5. We'll talk about that game a little bit more on Monday Night Football. Now, that'll do it. Like I said, full player props video will be live Saturday night, so make sure you do that. Now, check out Logan's college football videos. Those will start to be going live throughout the next couple days. We'll have one later on Thursday night, another one on Friday, one on Saturday morning. So check out those, and we'll see you Saturday night for the full player props video that we've been on a tear so far in the NFL. We appreciate you guys for tuning in. This has been Austin. Check out the podcast, too. We'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.